Welcome back. In this video, we learn about dimensions of data quality. We learn about data quality. So why data quality is required? So data quality is required because if you use inappropriate data as input, let me show you this process. So this is the area where we call this one is a real world from where we are collecting certain facts and figures. If inappropriate, as I told you while discussing this process, if the manual inputs are incorrect, the data that is created is incorrect, or the automatic way of collecting data also includes certain errors. Because of that errors, if inappropriate data is provided here, though it is cleaned, the information is inappropriate information only. After completing analysis, the decisions, the kind of suggestions it make will be inappropriate, and using that information, if you make decisions, if it will definitely fail 99%. So that 1% is munafa. Maybe sometimes because of some luck, people will become successful. So if you don't use quality data, the outcome of the analysis will not have quality. So the decisions we make will be failing. So to overcome that situation, what people do, they try to maintain quality of the data. Okay, so data quality is very important to make best business decisions. All right. So how you will be deciding the quality of data? So to decide the quality of data, we have six main dimensions that are mentioned here. One is timeliness, second one is completeness, uniqueness, validity, consistency, and accuracy. So the first point is timeliness. So based on the timeliness of the data, means the time at which the data is collected, we decide its quality. Based on that factor, we decide the quality of the data. For example, let me show you how we decide quality of the data. For example, if you are trying to review current performance of the organization performance in the last year, the data that should be collected should be from the last year operations of the business. To understand the performance of the organization at present, if you use the performance records of the last year, we cannot decide the current performance of the organization. So it might be resulting in inappropriate results. So for example, again, if you are reviewing current this year performance, and if you take last 5 years records, it is also incorrect. The timeliness of the data should be maintained based on the requirement. Okay, the time difference should be properly decided. Understood? So the things that are happening now should be analyzed by using the data that is generated at now. Okay, so this is how we decide. I will give you another example. While writing some literature review parts, we mostly ask you to select articles that are 5 years old, not older than that, because the technology upgrades every second. So at least we are confining it to last 5 years in that way. Okay, so it all depends on the requirements of the organization and organization need, so based on which we decide whether the quality of data is quality or not. If you are reviewing on 5 years performance of the organization, then if you select 5 years data, it is quality information. And when you are reviewing your last year performance, and if you use complete 5 year old data, or few records from first year, few records from second year, few records from third year, something like that, we don't consider it as a quality data. Okay, that is first point. The second point is completeness of the data. See, while entering, so in this real world, from when we enter the data, so for example, if you are creating employee records, we employee ID, password, date of birth, full name, next address, mother's maiden name, something like that. If some information is missing in the data, we don't consider it as a quality information. So there is sometimes it happens when you come across various records, people won't include complete information. Check your Aadhaar card. Sometimes people will give just 2000, maybe 1999 or 2002 as your date of birth. They don't mention complete information as 15 March 1982 as your date of birth. Okay, so this is what we call incomplete information. Using incomplete information here might result in wrong decisions. Okay, so it is very important that the data that we have used is in complete form, based on the completeness of the data that is available. That's why when we review, like in the next sessions, when we review the data, we also identify areas that are missing, values that are missing. So there should be no value missing kind of thing to conduct analysis. If some values are missing in the data, the possibility of generating wrong analytics will be high. Next one is uniqueness. For example, by mistake, if the employee enters two times a record, age 29, 28, BNR, 2019, some data. So the same data by mistake, if he enters twice, this shows as another record, and it may be one purchase. If the same one purchase record entered twice, it will be showing that two purchases happened for the organization, which might convey wrong message. Okay, so the uniqueness of the data should be maintained. So whatever the data we enter into the database or into the data analytics process, that should be unique. So if the data redundancy means like a couple of times mentioning same kind of information, if it is mentioned number of times, the quality of data will be reduced. We consider it is the data is of low quality, and while cleaning process they will be removing all those things, but the data quality will be low. We consider it as a low data quality. Next one is validity of the data. Validity of the data describes about the format that we are maintaining while including the data. For example, let me quote an example to make you understand. For example, if age is the data that we are collecting, and if the person enters EIGHTY80, where for all other values it is 80, 89, 34, something like. So this means that for this row, for this column, the value should be in numerical format, but if the value is not given as per the format, we call it as invalid data. So when we are transferring the data, raw data that is available in tables into the data analytic tools, if it won't follow the format that should be followed, we call it as an invalid data. Okay, so this invalidness of the data should be avoided, because when this kind of, maybe it is a meaningful information only, but it should be written like this, but they wrote it like this. The person who is entering the data wrote it like this, because of which this value becomes invalid. So something, when you are using Excel, you come across this kind of things, invalid and exclamatory mark. So this is invalid data. So such kind of data should not be used in data forms. So when we use this kind of information, it is an invalid data, which reduces the quality of the inputs we have created. Next element is about consistency. So before, like validity, like to maintain validity, what we should do? The format that we follow should be appropriate. The kind of values that are entered into the data sets should be appropriate. Okay, hope you guys understood. If you have any queries, you can ping me, right? I will make you another video for you. Next, consistency. Consistency is the next dimension. When the consistency defines about validity, accuracy, and uniqueness of the data that is existing across the records that are wherever it is mentioned. For example, you have an employee record and employee salary record. So if the details about the employee that are mentioned in employee record is having XYZ name, the same name should be existing in the salary table. So the information that is maintained in the data should be consistent. To maintain consistency, what we do? For example, let me show you. I'm pausing it. So now it is done. I will show you the V tables. So let me see these tables. Let me show you these tables. This is employee table that consists of employee name and employee age. Okay. So, and there is another table by name salary, where it consists of employee name, employee age, and salary. If you see Ramawat here, this is Ramawat and his age is 30 here. And when you see the same Ramawat related details in another table, it shows the same age. Means the data mentioned here should be exactly mentioned here. This is what we call maintaining consistency of the data. If this data is not properly maintained and if it shows like this 29 here, so this is inconsistent data. Maybe this record got updated recently and this record didn't update it recently. So this kind of inequality, this kind of inconsistency results in quality issues of the data. Okay, so wherever the data related to the same data set is maintained, it should be consistent. Got it? So this is what we call consistency. If we have a details about a person in this section, in this table, and if the same person is mentioned in another table, the consistency of the data should be maintained. So however here, this is the textual content, the format is same, so validity is maintained. Accuracy, so the age of the person is 30, so accuracy I didn't discuss. In the next session I will be discussing. Real-time object age is 30. If your age is 30 and if I maintain it as 29, it is inappropriate or incorrect. So the value should be exactly the value that is in real time. So that is what we call accuracy. The accuracy is maintained. Validity, accuracy, and uniqueness. Uniqueness is also maintained. See, Ramawat is Ramawat. There is no other Ramawat recorded in this one. So the uniqueness of the data is also maintained. These three factors defines consistency of the data. And the final one is accuracy. Accuracy is something that should be maintained for the data. For example, whatever you see, the exact information should be included included as inputs or included as data that is given as input to the data analytics tool. If you change the values, if you change real-time information, the purpose of conducting data analysis cannot be achieved. Let me say, for example, considering this process, the main of the organization is to understand performance of the employees of the organization. If the person entering the values of the people wantedly changes the values from what is happening in the real time and upgrades better values or provides lower values, which is not exactly matching with the real time, what is happening in the real time, then the decisions that we make will not match the requirement. The decisions that come are that we create are, I mean, the analysis results that we get are related to the wrong data, incorrect information that is provided. So this cannot satisfy our the purpose, because for example, if employees are performing good and the values that are given are low values, because of which the organizations will get results like employees are not performing better in the employment in the organization. So because of which organization might take decisions against the employees. So the purpose of conducting analysis is not satisfied for the organization. So it is very crucial that whatever the information, whatever the data we collect about certain objects or process should be exactly reflecting the what is situations that are happening in the real time. So the real time information should be used as data to get proper results. So this process we call creating extracting exact data. That is what we call maintaining accuracy of the data. These are 6 important dimensions of data. By using these 6 dimensions, I want you to give a write-up of 500 words. Okay, so I already briefed you about the different elements, the different dimensions. Just I want you to cross-check from the journal data or textbook data and use them as references and complete the task. It is 500 word task. Finish it as quick as possible. Thank you.